Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we are back again with another matchup. This time Beroman's taking up Bazooka. This is yet again fight for top 4, and winner of this match gets guaranteed minimum $200. It's still best out of 5, and let's get to it. Obviously, at this stage, both of them are exceptionally skilled players. Both of them have fought very hard because there are only 8 people at this stage in the tournament, and we started out with 128. So here they are finishing up their drafts. So Beroman is at the top left-hand side corner. Bazooka is at bottom right-hand side corner. And let's see how they do. Bazooka is going for Omega Red and Nick Fury as his last couple of draft picks. And let's see who will Bero pick. Both of them have obviously very competent drafts right there. We can see Archangel on one side, Human Torch on another side. You can see Valkyrie. Last and final pick belongs to Bero. And with that, he goes with Hulkling, because Hulkling on Rich Get Richer meta is just an absolute stud. Hulkling in general is an absolute stud, but Rich Get Richer, boy, that's even more deadly business right there. So Bazooka places Nick Fury as the first defender of their match, and Beroman responds in kind. So it's a Nick Fury off to what Bazooka is picking Archangel to go and nuke down that Nick. And let's see who will Bero choose to deal with Nick Fury in this fight. Again, just a reminder, this is the Rich Get Richer meta, and he picks Hulkling. So Hulkling is obviously a filthy champion in this meta, man. I can't overstate how scary is Hulkling in this meta. He just nukes pretty much everything. Right, let's see how this is going to go. Good old Archangel or Hulkling? Who shall be faster? Here he starts with a parry, gets in a combo, so he has 2 buffs versus Nick Fury 1. So Rich Get Richer already starts giving him power. He gains a precision and pierce buff, so he's at 4 buffs there. Definitely winning the race there. He's gonna go for 2 Furies and then into level 2. Perfect. And meanwhile, Archangel actually is having a great RNG there with 8 Neuros active on Nick Fury. And that Nick Fury's life model decoy basically gets destroyed simultaneously. This is neck and neck. And let's see how the second life is going to go down for both of these guys. And Nick Fury drops his special. Archangel has 2 Neuros, 6 bleeds. That Nick is absolutely wasting away. He's going for level 1. But Hulkling just finishes a smidge faster and takes less block damage. So Hulkling is faster Nick Fury killer than Archangel. 4 seconds and also 7% more health. So Beroman takes the game number 1. Let's see what they set up for their opponents as round 2. So again, the winner of this match gets $200. So I can imagine that nerves, must be playing quite an important part there. And Beroman is dropping Rintra on defense, almost always a very solid option, and Bazooka drops Immortal Abomination. Now we have Valkyrie, which is quite odd, but it doesn't look like Beroman has an answer for that I-bomb. And we have Bazooka going in with Massacre, which is quite awesome pick, to be honest, because you can use the same strategy that we have seen Valkyrie do, where you basically just hit the block and drop level 2s in the opponent's block, and that's it, and you should do just about fine. Now, when it comes to Valkyrie against I-bomb, I don't think that's going to work out, because her shrug off abilities, I think they are meant to work only in non-damaging debuffs, if I'm not mistaken. But, yeah, I don't think that's going to work out. And there he loses combo as well. So this is pretty much a round that Beroman is throwing because he does not have a counter, which is fair enough. Here, Massacre he's actually not doing what I expected him to do. In the Rich Get Richer meta, I kind of expected Bazooka to just go hit the block of Rintra, and that's it, more or less, and do nothing else. But that's not the route that he chose to go thus far. Fine. He finally gets his back ignited. He drops a level 2, and obviously a significant chunk of Rindra's health has just disappeared. And now he goes in for regular hits. Again, I suppose fair enough. And there, that level 2 nearly finishes. Man, Massacre is so awesome, though. Massacre is just so awesome. But yes, he gets the dub there because, yeah, Beroman just didn't have a great counter there. I don't think there was anything he could have really done in that situation. But now the round 3 is here. It's going to be interesting to see who takes this one. So let's see, final round. Bazooka has to place first right now. So he is going to go with Korg on defense, as expected. And then Beroman goes with Galen as his defender, to which Bazooka is going to go with Shang-Chi. Fair enough. Would you go with Shang-Chi? Yes, suppose so. But Galen with Rich Get Richer meta could be quite tricky. Whilst versus Beroman using Human Torch. Human Torch is not the greatest or fastest Korg counter, but he does the job fine. Typically, on equal ranks, you can get the fight done in thereabouts a minute, plus minus, 5-10 seconds, based on how AI is cooperating. But there is a slight mistake at the beginning of the fight where, unfortunately, Beroman eats a combo, and that drops him down below 90% health. And now, looks like somebody is about to eat a level 3 there. That does not look too great. Okay, so goes to Shang-Chi, drops his level 3, and Galen retaliates with a level 3 of his own. And this is going to hurt. This is definitely going to hurt. Obviously, because after the level 3, you will also likely have to deal with harvest damage. And Beroman is just safely but surely kind of closing out the fight. So it does look like he's going to take this one home. I wonder if Omega Red would have done better. I have never tried Omega Red against Galen, but that's worthwhile food for thought. Unfortunately, Bazooka, yes, gets KO'd. Beroman finishes his fight solidly well, 73 seconds, 86% health, and he takes the match number 1. So Beroman with early lead. Again, first player to 3 wins is the player who advances. Now they're finishing their drafts for the round 2. Bazooka is selecting Korg and Archangel as always solid picks. There are no real bad picks or, very, weird champions in either player's decks. And if there is something that's less than, standard, less common, then there's probably a very good reason. Also, just to advise in advance, in one of these matches, Bazooka receives a phone call, so his recording will be blanked out for a space of about 10 seconds, and we had to do that in order to line them up properly, just so you guys know that there are no shenanigans happening and stuff like that. It's just, he received a phone call which pauses the recording, and obviously we don't want to reveal any of that that happened there. Anyhow, so there's going to be about 10-second blank screen on the side of Bazooka here. Right, so Beroman drops Korg as his first defender, and Bazooka is dropping Nick. So let's see who Beroman is going to use against that Nick. He has Archangel and Valkyrie and CGR, all very viable options, and he does decide to go with Valkyrie, whilst Bazooka is picking up Hercules. Now, I am not the best guy to do Korg with Hercules, but I have seen some of the guys just absolutely nuke down Korg with Herc. I think Zach is the one that did in like 30-some seconds with like 98% health against me, and I was absolutely blown away. So there are some very, very skilled guys with Hercules, and Hercules should never be counted out, especially considering that Herc has to deal with only 1 bar of power, so bar of health. But Valkyrie in this fight has to take on, Nick Fury's light model decoy and then the real Nick Fury. But obviously, Valkyrie is also a bit of a ramp-up champ, because you spend first 30-35 seconds in these matches ramping up Valkyrie, getting to those 3 pierce buffs, and she has completely different type of damage once she's at 3 or 4 pierce buffs. And we can see that by Nick Fury's health bar. Their Bazooka is actually going for level 3. I don't think that was the plan, probably. But here, Life Model Decoy is destroyed, and Beroman is just pulling away whilst that level 3 animation is playing there. So they are 1 minute in, and yeah, it does look like Bero will take this on speed and HP. They are very close though. Still very solid finish with Herc against Korg. Probably definitely better than I would. Oof, that final level 1 though. That final level 1 is a screw up. There's no way around it. Still a very, very solid fight. Just, you know, let down by that level 3 really. But yeah, Valkyrie definitely performed quite well in that Nick Fury fight, as we have seen Valkyrie get quite a lot of attention from community in recent week or so, since everybody pulled her from the featured Cyber Weekend. Right, let's see. So Beroman takes the early lead here again, but again, this is best out of 5, so this is still very fresh and very early in. Let's see, Bazooka is dropping Korg on defense, and let's see who Bero is going to place. Bero doesn't really have much in terms of defense in this match. That's quite surprising. It's like, yeah, there's Mordo, but Mordo can be Archangel, Mordo can be Molmand as well, I believe. And yeah, it isn't looking too good for Bero. Bero basically drafted incredibly offensive setup. I mean, Longshot can work as a defender as well, especially in Rich Get Richer meta, but if you do have something that works well against Longshot, then the fight isn't going to be too long. So we'll see who he chooses to go against CGR. CGR against Korg, and Molman against Mordo. That, by looks of it, is also a very, very, very handsome rank 4 Molman. I'm a bit jealous of that one. I kind of want to rank up Molman on my account in near future too, because he's a great dual champion. Right, let's see how Beroman does the CGR fight. So CGR gains that Fury buff immediately, which is somewhat unfortunate. And then he just does not want to throw that heavy attack, but he does find his opening. And now at this point, Bero goes for his level 2, but as we can see, that Molman is already ready to rip in Mordo with absolutely zero mercy. He goes for level 2, and Mordo again does not have the biggest health pool. He times his level 2 perfectly with the power gain in order to shut that down. Bero does get pushed himself to level 3, and he has taken some chip damage, whereas there is an accidental clap of Mordo to Molman, but Molman is about to finish this fight out, and he has done exceedingly well. Sub 1 minute fight, 52 seconds, so Bazooka does take this round number 2, and round number 3 as well, I would say that is definitely in favor, based on champions, in my opinion, to Bazooka here in this match. Now, Beroman is still finishing his Korg fight, and yeah, CGR can do Korg very well, but it's still not the quickest fight. It's just kind of like a testament of how tanky Korg can be, especially at a rank 4. And that reminds me, I need to get my Korg up to rank 4 too. Man, there's so many champions I want to rank up. There's never enough catalysts, and at the moment I have 0. I'm not even close to my next rank up. Okay, so start. Beroman drops Longshot on defense. Longshot can definitely still salvage it, but Bazooka has Penny, and there's just no great counter. Yes, Human Torch can do this fight, but with Rich Get Richer node, it just becomes even trickier, and it's still probably not going to be the fastest fight. Whereas Archangel is definitely capable of nuking down the Longshot. Now, in that Archangel fight, there is still a risk of pushing Longshot length to level 3, because Longshot has massive increase in ability accuracy. Basically, when you put neurotoxins on him, they don't really do much to Longshot, and he will be proccing that Fury basically constantly, because he has increased chance to do so on hit, and Archangel's neuros, you know, they reduce it, but not by that much. So pretty much the entire fight, Longshot does get extra power from Ridge Get Richer, which is, needless to say, extremely risky. And the key point is that you never want to allow Longshot to enter Pure of Hearts, because he probably will get to a level 2, but RNG seemingly worked out there. This was something weird there. I did not really notice what happened, but luckily it didn't end up poorly. And yeah, that fight is over. Beroman's actually, up until this point, had been doing very well with competitive time, with, you know, competitive fight, but yeah, no, Bazooka has this. And Penny Parker there is at level 3, which obviously still extends the fight duration, and Bazooka takes the win here. Quite well deserved, well played, well drafted. But yeah, here in this match, definitely the biggest thing was that Bero just didn't have enough defensive kind of like powerhouses that would stall enough, that would be chunky enough. Now we go on to match number 3, and here we have Bazooka finishing up his draft with Nick Fury and Gallon. Oh no, that's not even finished yet. We have Beroman picking his last 2 champions, I suspect. Yes, last 2 champions. And let's see who he decides to go with. And look at that Juggernaut. Doesn't he look pretty? But Juggernaut does not get selected. We get Guardian and we get Ebony Maw. Bazooka is picking his last champion, which is going to be Hulkling. And well, let the fun begin now. Let's see who they set up as the initial defenders. That's also always an interesting debate. How do you normally decide who will you place as your first defender, typically? Because it's a very big decision, and that very first defender you throw down often does pretty much dictate how the match will go. So here we have Beroman picking Mr. Fantastic against Rintra, and we have Massacre against Dr. Doom. That's one of those cool fights. I just find it absolutely amazing how many different champions Massacre can handle. And obviously Mr. Fantastic is also similar in that way, where Mr. Fantastic can do a ton of hard fights. He's pretty much never going to be the fastest option for anything, but he's often one of the safer options. And at the same time, he can be a defensive nightmare if opponent doesn't have something like Hitmonkey or Shang-Chi or something like that. Because that evade, and he's tanky, and especially if your champions rely on special attacks, he just won't go down. So here we can see the Bat ignited with Massacre already. You can see that Dr. Doom is getting clapped with 8 incinerates there. He's going in for a big level 2 there, does plenty of damage. Now he needs to bait out a level 2 from Dr. Doom. Man, that Massacre fight was awesome. Now he does need to get his Bat reignited. And with Ridge Get Richer, again, it's so awesome that you can work on reigniting your Bat while simultaneously gaining power and, you know, basically pushing yourself closer to that level 2. And like, here we go, he gets his Bat ignited, he drops level 2. Dr. Doom has like 9% health there. He can just go in there and finish it off with a level 1. And yeah, that Dr. Doom is down. Very cool, very nice fight. Well played to Bazooka, definitely. And here we have Beroman still taking down Rintra. And for the Rintra fight, you know, it definitely isn't the slowest. There are many worse options. There's still going to be about 30 seconds left on the clock, but it just was not quite good enough. It did finish with higher HP by 10%, but there was a slightly bigger difference. It's still a very close score. This is the type of fight where Mr. Fantastic could have potentially won if the AI maybe worked a bit better, or maybe a crit RNG slightly bit better. But definitely very close fight. And here Bazooka is taking this one also. Now let's see. Bazooka setting up defense for Bero. Looks like he's going to go Nick Fury. And yep, he locks that in. Now it's time for Bero to decide on his defender, which is Ebony Maw. I know that Bero's Ebony Maw is rank 4, and I absolutely hate fighting that dude. I really do. I'm not a fan of Ebony Maw fights. And here we're going to have Omega Sentinel against Ebony Maw, which is a quite a good matchup because obviously Omega Sentinel can completely bypass the miss mechanic, so she doesn't have to worry about knocking down Ebony Maw or being faltered, really, as long as you have tracking debuff. But obviously we have all already seen that Valkyrie is definitely capable of taking Nick Fury at a very good pace. So here we go. Also, the upside in Rich Get Richer meta 2 Omega Sentinel is the fact that she does have an armor up buff, which basically kind of means that at the very worst case scenario, you will equal out the amount of buffs that Ebony Maw has. And also she's immune to Nullify, so Ebony Maw placing that Fury on Omega Sentinel with level 1s is definitely helping out Omega Sentinel to gain more power. And you don't need to worry about level 1s causing you degen. Now here, very close to 3 bars of power he came, but it's quite alright. Omega Sentinel and Rich Get Richer meta is also kind of deceptively fast in my opinion, but so is Valkyrie, obviously. And we are gonna see here, Nick Fury first life model Digo is destroyed, but at the same time Ebony Maw is already at 30% health, 8 incinerates ticking away at him. He pauses them, and that pretty much seals the match because he did manage to pause them in time. Ebony Maw just ticks away. Oh no, this was such a close one again. Just that block damage, because Valkyrie didn't basically take any block damage. Look at that, it was basically simultaneous. I was looking at the fight at the bottom right corner, and I was like, yeah, you know, Omega Sentinel has this sealed in. But that final bit, Valkyrie just absolutely caught up and overtook Omega Sentinel. Man, tough luck there, definitely tough luck. Okay, now we have Penny Parker against Nick Fury and Cosmic Ghost Rider against Hulkling. Both are very doable matchups. Both can work exceptionally well. Obviously, we all know that that's one of the Penny Parker's party tricks, is bypassing Nick Fury's second life, so you kind of equal the playing ground. And obviously then we have CGR, whose damage absolutely cannot be underestimated. And he gets his heavy attack in, he goes for his light finish, but unfortunately he did trigger Dex there. And that alone means that the level 2 is not going to have quite the same bite as it otherwise would. Now he drops his level 2, finishing his cycle, power locking Hulkling and also taking away all his buffs. So Rich Get Richer node now is benefiting that CGR. But meanwhile, we have Bazooka there working very, very, very diligently on dealing with that Nick Fury. Now he does go for a level 2 with only like 11 or 12 charges, which might not be quite enough. But it looks like won't matter because Beroman eats a level 3 from Hulkling, which obviously does quite a lot of damage. And now still Bazooka just how to finish out this fight. Also, one of the more awesome things about Penny Parker is the fact that Penny Parker doesn't really take much block damage because that gets absorbed in the shield. And yeah, based on health, fight duration slightly longer to Bazooka, but he didn't make any major mistakes. He didn't eat a level 3, so he takes round 3. So now, despite the early lead, Bazooka has caught up, and Bero has to win this round or he's out. So Bazooka has the lead here at this point, and it's, you know, very well balanced match here. Let's see who Bero drafts in the end. Kingpin and the Thing, obviously very, very solid picks. And Bazooka is going to finish his draft off with Gallon and Weapon Flex. No, Weapon, yes, no, yes, Weapon Flex. Is it Weapon Flex? Yeah, he locks in the Weapon X. Alright then, and now Beroman sees an Archangel, quickly grabs it, because obviously Archangel is a great counter to Weapon X, and can make that fight quite easy. But it's not just Weapon X that Archangel can counter. Quite obviously, there's Galen, there's Ranger, there's Scorpion. Plenty applications for that Weapon X. First fight for Beroman is set up to be Korg, and Beroman plays his thing for Bazooka to deal with. Now, both of the Rocky dudes, oh no, he changed his mind and drops Kingpin instead. So now Bazooka needs to find a counter to Kingpin, and he picks Wolverine Weapon X, which I know very little about Weapon X. I actually do have one right now, which I haven't made any content yet about, and it's still sitting at rank 1, level 1. I will rank mine up at the next level up event. And huge thank you to all of you, by the way, viewing the video, and especially to those people who reached out to me and, well, basically sponsored the Weapon X for me this Cyber Weekend. So definitely a huge thank you to all of you guys for supporting the channel. It's quite humbling to see all that support at times. But let's get back to the matches. So we have Professor X going up against Korg here. And Professor X is kind of like one of those Beroman signature champions where, you know, I can play Professor X, you know, at a relatively proficient level, but I'm not even for a second going to pretend that I play him as well as Beroman normally does. I use him when need be. And here we can see that that was the phone call that interrupted that Weapon X fight. We can see that he pretty much immediately lost 10 seconds of that fight there, which... you know, we're gonna line up properly after this fight. And Professor X now has ramped up. Oh, he's still there. Needed to make sure that he's recording. But Weapon X is actually doing quite solid job there. Can't complain. Except now, oof, that's a very good level 2 dex. That's a very good level 2 dex there. He needs to wait out that unstoppable. And here he gets clipped. He was doing so well. That's a solid level 2 as well. But Professor X at this point already has finished the fight. And yeah, I bet that having the match and fight interrupted for Bazooka, you know, it definitely didn't help. And I can't help but to wonder, hadn't he received that call in this fight, could he have potentially pulled this one off? Who knows? Who knows? But Beroman definitely takes this round with his Professor X nuking into Korg. And so that is round 1 here, going as planned for Bero. And round 2. This is definitely very even tussle in between the guys. So Thing gets placed first. Here we can see that it's still slightly uneven here in the rounds. So Thing gets placed here first. There's about 10-second difference at the moment. That should be rectified shortly. And let's see. So Rintra and Human Torch and Galen for the Thing. So you're definitely gonna notice that Bazooka's screen is slightly a bit more ahead right now. It was a bit of an editing problem there. Let's try our best to line up these fights, but they're still about 10 seconds apart here. So Beroman activates Flame On, obviously against Rintra. And let's see how Bazooka is getting on against the Thing. And with Galen, basically, you typically want to just ideally nuke everything down in one go. Rich Get Richer at times can be slightly, well, it's kind of helpful, but it also can be a bit annoying, if not confusing with Galen. Sometimes you end up getting pushed to level 3 if you can't bait out special attacks quickly enough because of that power gain. But there he drops a level 1, and that does a decent amount of burst damage. Thing is at 39%, which is fair enough. And here he's going to bait out that special, and he makes Thing go unstoppable and eats a combo. Oh no, that's not good. But yeah, here he finishes with that level 2, obviously, but oh no. That would have been a perfect fight, but now it is going to be extremely close, depending how well Beroman can finish this fight. That's one of the things I do like in this meta, however, is that Human Dodge and Archangel are not necessarily always automatic wins, pretty much, because when opponent gains constant power, everything can happen in that fight, and it's much easier to screw up. And like here, Rinter just wouldn't throw his special, and that's it. You hit level 3, and you lose a match that, you know, in most other metas, Human Dodge would have absolutely nuked down. Here we can see that, yes, Bazooka takes round 2. Let's move on to the next fight. So this is the deciding round, basically. If Bazooka wins this fight, he advances to the semi-finals. And we have Shang-Chi against Hulkling and Archangel against Scorpion. I know who I'd pick to win this one, because Beroman definitely seemingly has much better matchup. I actually think that Massacre would have been better option. It's just a matter of whether it would be fast enough. Because Massacre can nuke Hulkling down in most of the metas. At the same time, Scorpion isn't gonna buy you a lot of time. So we seemingly had the same problem here this time around with Bazooka that Beroman had in the match number 2 or match number 1, where he just didn't have enough defenders. And yeah, when you're left with Shang-Chi, Scorpion, and Massacre in round 3, you know, it's not the greatest setup there. It does a lot of damage to Hulkling there. He goes absolutely crazy with the unblockables. Can he actually? That was an insane fight. He just went for the... That was a crazy good fight, though. I did not expect to see that. He still lost, but that was an awesome fight. Just push to red and consequences be damned. That was awesome. It was very awesome to see that. Shang-Chi's stupid sometimes. Right, let's get back in the mode. Deciding match here now. Now we are lined up, back up perfectly. And let's see who is going to get the guaranteed $200 for this one. And both of them are nearly done drafting. Beroman is picking up his last champions, and they look to be Korg and Professor X. When in doubt, go with what you know. And now we have a skill selection basically available for Bazooka. Stealth Suit, Spidey, Massacre, or Kingpin. I know which one is my favorite from those 3. There you go. The big man. Right, 2-2. These matchups have been dead even. Let's see. So, Beroman quickly, without a moment's thought, drops down his Korg on defense, and so does Bazooka here. Let's see which one of them has the better counter and the better execution. Beroman is picking up his Professor X, and Bazooka is going with Gallon. Here I definitely would prefer Professor X, because you can play much more freely. Because obviously Gallon doesn't have the non-contact basic attack, so you need to be very, very careful how you build your charges and how you find your openings. And if you're very skilled, you can definitely do this fight. But everything kind of needs to work out there with the light intercepts. AI needs to work with you again. And there is the first mistake, where seemingly there is a non-existent parry. He ends up eating a combo. Now he drops his level 1. And that does shatter the rock field. That does give him also more buffs than Korg has. And still, though, taking that damage might be the actual deciding factor. He does drop his heavy attack quite early here to try and benefit as much as he can from that regen that Gallon has, but the regen isn't all that potent. You're not going to be able to make up, you know, all the damage you have taken thus far. Here Korg refused to throw a special attack as well. And Professor X is doing Professor X things to that poor Korg. And yeah, it looks like, based on health bars alone, even if Bazooka finishes just about the same time, the health differential is going to be quite noticeable. And here, unfortunately, Korg's Rockfield seemingly eats up Gallon's detonation as well. And yeah, this one definitely goes to Bero. So Bero takes the opening round of the final deciding match in between these two guys, whilst Bazooka is still not giving up. And that's one of the more important things in Battlegrounds as well. Just don't give up. Finish your fights. You never know. Even if you mess up, maybe your opponent has messed up more. And he finishes, but obviously we know that Bero has done an excellent job there with Professor X. 67 seconds against Korg, 96% health. Very good job. Let's see how it is going to look at round 2. So now this is already kind of like coming down to a wire. If Bero wins this fight, he wins $200. Bazooka absolutely has to win this round if he doesn't want to be eliminated at this point. Okay, so we have Penny Parker being placed for Bero. And let's see who will Bero place on defense. Bero chooses to go with Rintra, which in my opinion is a very solid pick. And Bazooka is going with Nimrod, which in my opinion is quite an odd pick. It surely would want to go with Warlock in this one, much more likely than Rintra, in my opinion. Because Neutralize will mess up with Nimrod. And he chooses to go with Gore for Penny. Obviously, Gore can do Penny very well. Ideally, especially if you have high sig. With lower sig Gores, it can be quite tricky, but you can definitely still get away with it. And it's basically with a couple of big level 3s, you can nuke down this fight based on, you know, how well Penny plays into you. So ideally, you just want to build up as many shadow magic buffs initially, get some blocked hits in as well, and there you go. He has some debuffs active. Sweet. He's going to go in for medium to get some more debuffs. Undermine had already expired, but he managed to throw special 3 before that. And well, Nimrod is doing solid. Nimrod is doing actually a solid job here. Chipping down that Rintra, but Rintra has increased energy resistance. That's another thing that's definitely not speaking in favor of Rintra in this matchup. And here Gore is basically in the final stretch. Here, he gained power from Rich Get Richer. At this point, he also has over 20 debuffs, so he could have thrown a heavy attack to gain a massive power gain, but, you know, thanks to Rich Get Richer, there's no need for that. Penny's at 47% health, but there were over 20 debuffs on her, and this level 3 is gonna hit very hard, and that absolutely obliterates Penny. And yeah, 82 seconds, 88% health remaining, and here we are. Nimrod is still doing an excellent job, though, I must admit. I did not think that Nimrod will be able to take Rintra down in this one, or at the very least, almost take it down. But that is it. Beroman wins the match. Beroman wins a spot in top 4. So congratulations to him. And next 2 matches will follow on the channel shortly. So you guys will see exactly who will be the 4 semi-finalists for this MCOC Open tournament that's sponsored by Evizone. All the links in the video description. Huge thank you to Evizone, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm gonna catch you guys soon. See ya. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about the next